Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is One Punch Man Season 3, Part 1, Episode 35, Top Dragons. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happens in the episode. So, the beginning of the episode has Child Emperor successfully leading Wagema up to the surface and leaving him in the care of the A-class heroes who are waiting up above. Then a message from Atomic Samurai comes in through the transmitter about the fact that he's seen a child down in the tunnels, which leads to Child Emperor returning underground. We then see Atomic Samurai facing Black Sperm, and Black Sperm can duplicate itself a great number of times, and as the Atomic Samurai is slicing him apart, he's continuing to fight, and the last we really see of that battle is Atomic Samurai seemingly losing to the Black Sperm. We then move on to Zombie Man, who is facing the Homeless Emperor, who got his powers divinely from a mysterious being that he calls God, and they fight, but Zombie Man, being immortal, probably eventually will end up winning. However, at this point, again, that battle is left unfinished, with Zombie Man taking a few attacks before we switch over to Pretty Prisoner, who is the one that basically takes up the majority of this episode. And Pretty Prisoner starts by facing Raptora, who we met guarding Waganma's cell, who then gets eaten by a new monster that looks like an elephant, who then is defeated by Pretty Prisoner, which leads to Raptora and the other monsters that got eaten alongside her being freed from the elephant's body, and they run away. Meanwhile, the prisoners who had been turned into monsters by Nyan come over, and Pretty Prisoner tries to save them without listening to a word that they say before Nyan arrives, who then gets really creeped out by Pretty Prisoner and decides that he's going to run away from him, which he does do, and unfortunately the prisoners do get caught in the crossfire, and get a bunch of rocks dropped on them, and then we get a small cameo from Saitama reacting to Pretty Prisoner's cry of despair when he realizes his prisoner, the prisoners that he came to save have been caught in the crossfire, which is really just he's the one who broke the wall down, and they were buried under the debris, and saying that, of course, like, it sounds disturbing, blah blah blah. But that's all that happens in this episode. So now that we've been reminded about what happened in the episode, it's now time to rank the episode, and we'll rank on our mostly objective ranking list, followed by the personal ranking list. So starting on our mostly objective rank values, we have our single episode supporting character, which was Bakuma, who was the elephant guy that ate the other characters, and he's worth 1 point because he was defeated by Pretty Prisoner. I'm assuming 1 episode, but sometimes when they're defeated, they do come back again, so he could have more episodes in like part 2 or a future episode, but for now, I'm counting him as 1 episode because he was defeated in his premiere episode. So 1 point. 2 points for the multi-episode supporting character introduction, which is the mysterious being that the Homeless Emperor calls God. Then we have, and that was 2 points. 2 points for resolved battles. Because the Atomic Samurai versus Black Sperm and Zombie Man versus Homeless Emperor are left unfinished, they don't count for points. Have a Pretty Prisoner versus Raptora, who gets eaten by Bakuma, who takes over and is defeated by Pretty Prisoner. I'm counting that as resolved, so that's 2 points. And then Pretty Prisoner versus the prisoners, and Nyan is resolved as well. The prisoners are crushed under rocks, and Nyan has fled the scene, resolving that round of their battle. So that's 2 more 2s, bringing us up to 7. And then we have a positive 3 points for our multi-season supporting character growth, which is Puri Puri Prisoner. Um, his deep love gives birth to a new style, and so he introduces Vibration Angel Descended, Vibration Dark Angel Rush, Angel Bristly Armor, which is just body hair, and then the Angel Crawl attacks, and again, that's growth, so worth 3 points, which does bring this to a 10, so 10 out of 10 episode. When more than one episode has the same score, it is just ranked in episode order on the mostly objective ranking list. So in first we have the strategy meeting, second Ninja Tale, Immortal Bloodbath. This episode comes in fourth, Top Dragons, Organism Limits, Monster King, Monster Traits, Counter Strike, Brave Child, Counterattack Signal, and then Motley Heroes is in last place so far. For my personal ranking, I will say I did not enjoy that they left some of the fights unresolved. I feel like if they were going to split the episode between multiple fights, they could have at least finished the fights that they were having, like they did in the last episode, where they showed multiple heroes fighting, but they also showed the resolution to each of those battles. Um, I don't like being left in ambiguity, but that being said, Puri Puri Prisoner is a very disturbing individual, but he is funny. So I did like the comedic aspects of his fight. Um, it was fun to watch. I like that we finally got another cameo of Saitama, but again, I don't like that he's not doing anything. Like, I feel like, and I keep harkening back to it. I know. But season 1 had a similar format where other heroes fought their desperate battles. But in those, Saitama was either actively, purposefully on the way to the scene, was showing up at the scene, and we just saw the tail end of their fight and before Saitama showed up, or Saitama was like actively fighting smaller monsters on the way there, or giving Genos a chance to shine before stepping in to defeat it once Genos is defeated. But he was still always seeming to do something and always on the screen for multiple minutes throughout the episode, and I like that we got some screen time because we have gotten none before, but it's still very low screen time, which again is, to me as an audience member, frustrating because, when I'm watching a show, like for example, the title character, in this case One Punch Man, is about Saitama, who is a man who defeats monsters and villains in one punch. Similarly, if we're looking at a different anime, for instance, like Naruto, if I was to watch Naruto and not see Naruto on screen for a significant period of time, I would be completely confused because why are we watching a show named for this character where this character does not appear? It doesn't make sense. So for me, I'm like, I'm watching One Punch Man because I want to see One Punch Man, i.e., Saitama, and potentially Genos, who is his sidekick slash student. Um, and while I don't mind, again, side characters because they add vibrancy to the world and they add a variety of different techniques and skills and different methods of fighting and effects for fighting, like, I don't have a problem with that. I just wish it was more balanced where we were getting more screen time for One Punch Man instead of a bunch of these others. And like I said, Puri Puri Prisoner is funny to watch. Atomic Samurai has me questioning what hard boiled means because the only other time I've heard that I can recall is in One Piece Dressrosa arc, and that was a very unattractive weirdo. But Atomic Samurai is calling himself hard boiled, and he's not a weirdo, or well, I mean, it's a cartoon character, so can you consider it unattractive? He's not drawn to be obviously unattractive, at least, because when they try to draw them unattractive, they are really weird looking. So I don't think I know what hardboiled means. I always thought it meant unattractive weirdo. Now I think it may mean something else, and I could look it up, but I'm not going to. Either way, I liked the episode. I thought the fights were interesting. Zombie Man, of course, has been established to be a zombie, but given that we had just seen him in a big fight against multiple opponents in the last episode where we saw his regenerative abilities, I'm like, okay, I already know what he does as a hero, who he is as a hero. Do I need this another fight from him as well? Especially one that they're going to leave unresolved. I'm not sure that I did. Overall, though, it was entertaining as an episode, and we haven't had a comedic episode in a while, so I'm a little bit weak to it now, and that's why I decided to give it a 9. We got Saitama, we got comedy. Were there negatives and detracting points? Yes, but ultimately, my enjoyment in the entertainment value of the episode, especially the comedy side of things, gave it a 9. Which means that our season ranking so far on the personal ranking has Ninja Tail in first, Top Dragon second. Oh, one other point I wanted to make. I did not see any dragons in this episode. I do not know what it means by top dragons. Though, now that I've said that, I do know that dragon is a threat level. So they could be referring to the threat level of the monsters that they're facing in this episode, but that's not really like explicitly shown, or at least it went over my head during the episode. So I'm still gonna say that I was a little confused by the title. Okay, back to the list. First, Ninja Tail, this episode's second, Top Dragons, Brave Child, Monster Traits, Immortal, Bloodbath, Counter-Strike, Monster King, Organism Limits, the Strategy Meeting, Counterattack Signal, and then in last is Motley Heroes. And we now come to the series ranking so far. And in first, we have season 1 with 106 out of 120, and that came to 88.33%. Season 2 was in second with 74.17%. The OVAs for season 1 and 2 came to 33.08%. And then season 3, part 1 is currently at 87 out of a possible 120. Personal ranking, season 1 was in first with a total of 92 out of 120, which was 76.67%. Season 2 at 65.83%. OVAs for 1 and 2 was 40.77%, and then season 3 part 1 so far has a score of 74 out of a possible 120. And with that, we have rewatched and ranked One Punch Man season 3 part 1 episode 35, Top Dragons. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.